Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Cutter One. I'm your host, JJSJ, your resident troublemaker, your resident culture warrior. I hope you're all doing well. All right, it's Monday. We know it sucks. It sucks, but we'll get through it. I promise. This too shall pass. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, this is coming to us from the good folks over at CBR.com, and this is coming to us from our good friend Blake Hawkins. All right, let's see what Blake has to say about this. It's the Rings of Power's worst decision could doom this crucial character. The Rings of Power's Halbrand and Galadriel relationship ensured Celeborn wasn't in season 1, but a Celebrian appearance could doom him for good. Let's see. All right, we got the ad playing, so we'll try to ignore the ad. Okay, Lord of the Rings was a quote-unquote romance with epic battles. Did I just read that right? The Lord of the Ring was a romance with epic battles, daring heroics, and selfless sacrifices. All the while, Sauron threatened to cover Middle-earth in total darkness, and the Dark Lord was fully capable of doing so. Thus, every action that Gandalf, Frodo, and company made was done with care because each one could have been extremely consequential. Besides the eternal fate of the world, Aragorn and Arwen's love story helped make the earth-changing events more personal. Okay, that was sort of written weird, but, whatevs, just gonna leave it as is. The Rings of Power tried to follow the same outline. Adar was the main villain in Season 1, as he and his orcs threatened the Southlands. Meanwhile, Arandir and Bronwyn's controversial relationship was designed to make the orc takeover more tragic. However, that wasn't the most consequential romance in the series. That honor goes to Halbrand and Galadriel. It was a terrible decision in and of itself, but it might have also doomed another character. Halbrand and Galadriel's odd romance doomed Celeborn. From the very beginning, there seemed to be some kind of odd, even romantic, tension between Halbrand and Galadriel. Even though fans didn't know who Halbrand was, it was clear that he and Galadriel had some kind of connection. The warlike elf made it clear that she wanted him to move on from his past sins and embrace his identity as king of the Southlands. Yet, his identity was a total facade. He finally admitted that he was Sauron in the season 1 finale, and Galadriel was appalled. During his confession, Halbrand made it clear that the romantic tension between them wasn't just a coincidence. He wanted her to become his queen. In a speech that caused problems for Fellowship of the Ring, Halbrand said, quote, "I would make you a queen, fair as the sea and the sun, stronger than the foundations of the earth," unquote. Galadriel adamantly refused, but the whole situation was kind of off-putting for Lord of the Rings fans. Worse than that, the odd romance necessitated the absence of Galadriel's actual husband, Celeborn. Near the back end of Season 1, Galadriel told Theo that he had been killed. A Celebrian appearance would completely doom Celeborn. At first, fans assumed that Galadriel had to be wrong. There was no way that Celeborn could actually be dead because he was essential to the story. He and Galadriel's daughter, Celebrian, had to go on and marry Elrond. However, there was an alternative. Celeborn could be dead if he was sent back to Middle-earth like Glorfindel. That way, he and Galadriel could have children, and things would go back to normal after the detour of the Halbrand romance. Unfortunately, there is a way that Celeborn wouldn't have to appear at all. If Celebrian was born before Celeborn died, then there would be no in-story reason that he would have to make an appearance. The thing is, that's actually a possibility. Rings of Pewter's timeline is totally convoluted, but Celebrian was born near the beginning of the Second Age. Thus, depending on exactly when Celeborn died, she could have been born before his death. To make things even worse, Actress Celeste Dodwell was just cast in season 2. Because of her blonde hair and elven features, a few fans on Reddit have suggested that she could be playing Celebrian. At this point, that may be a stretch, but it's certainly possible. If the rumors are true, would probably doom Celeborn's chances of appearing. In turn, that would enable Halbrand and Galadriel's not romance, which the series seemed pretty committed to in season 1. Hopefully, none of that's true, and a Celeborn appearance will be forthcoming. But if Celeborn shows up, it might completely end the chances. I'm sorry, if Celebrian shows up, it might completely end the chances of seeing Celeborn. The Rings of Pewter season 2, nobody gives a shit about. Anyway, this goes back to what I've said repeatedly. They definitely fuck things up with that one. No getting around it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They definitely screwed the pooch big time with that. And for those who may not know, like it's a lot bigger deal than some people, because I know I've seen some YouTube channels out there that are sort of like in direct opposition to channels like mine and others, where people who are literally taking Rings of Pewter to task over the changes that they made to the lore and other stupid bullshit that they've done with Lord of the Rings. And there are channels that exist literally to be the counterpoint to whatever points channels like mine make. And that's fine. They're welcome to do that. But so for those who may not know, the way it works, at least the timeline within the books, is that Celeborn and Galadriel have a daughter, Celebrian. Celebrian goes on to marry Elrond, okay? And she has 3 children with Elrond. Their 2 sons and their daughter, Arwen, who goes on to marry Aragorn, okay? So that's why when Rings of Pewter just sort of tosses out, oh, well, Celeborn's dead, just so that they could have this, will they, won't they, googly eye romance between fucking Sauron and Galadriel. Tolkien fans like myself were like, what the actual fuck are you doing? Because we understand how important it is for Galadriel and Celeborn to be together and have their daughter, who, again, marries Elrond and is the mother of Arwen, right? So without Celeborn, there's no Celebrian. Without Celebrian, there's no Arwen. Without Arwen, there is nobody for Aragorn. You see how you screw up the entire timeline, right? So that's why us Tolkien fans were like, what the hell are you doing, right? You can't make a change like that because it has repercussions that affect everything, right? And like I said, I know there are some channels, I'm looking at you, Chariot, that like to counter any criticism leveled at these shows. But, tell me I'm wrong on that one. Okay? I'm not. And I'm not. Okay? That was a stupid ass move that the, Pain and Decay made with this show. Okay? And it's one of a long list of things people like me despise about this show. Right? It's because it literally does tons of stupid shit. It just piles on nonsense after nonsense, unnecessary change on top of unnecessary change, and then tries to justify it by saying, oh, well, we didn't really have the rights to anything from the Silmarillion, so we sort of had to make up some stuff on our own. Here's an idea. If you don't have the rights to the book about the Second Age, maybe, just maybe, you don't base your entire show on events of the Second Age. It's just a thought, just a fucking thought, right? But no, we all know you weren't going to do that because you wanted to milk this thing for as much money as you could, right? So you wanted to have characters that people know. Galadriel, Sauron, Elrond, right? You all but admitted that the only reason why you have the Harfoots in there at all, is because, like your executive said, when people think Lord of the Rings, you naturally automatically imagine hobbits, right? And that's the only reason why they're there, okay? And you've said as much. And so that's just to sort of give the full picture. That's why a lot of people like me continue to rip into the show, because the more you dig into this show, the more you listen to the things that they say, the more you analyze the information and the choices that they made, the more asinine it becomes, right? And so for those who would defend it, that's fine. You do you. That's cool. Me personally, I literally enjoy ripping into it over stupid shit like this because I'll give it to Blake. I don't often agree with things that Blake Hawkins from CBR.com has written, and anybody who's watched my channel knows this. But sometimes even a stopped clock is right twice a day, right? And in this instance, I agree with Blake. This is stupid. This is stupid. And what's scary is that the idea of them bringing Celebrian into the show as Galadriel's daughter, because you need more woman power, right? The idea of them doing that without bringing back Celeborn, and he's just somewhere, right? He's either dead or he's somewhere else, right? Is not. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. That's the sad thing, okay? That's ultimately the takeaway, is that they could and more than likely would do something like that. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I just wanted to point this out. I think, believe it or not, I agree with Blake Hawkins on this one. It was one of the worst decisions that the showrunners made, or the writers for this show made. And it has the biggest trickle down effect for the overall story. And their way out of it is more than likely going to be the worst option, i.e. they have an option of bringing Celeborn back. They're not going to do that in case they ever want to revisit the Halbrand Galadriel story, right? Our romance, not romance, right? So they're not. I don't think they'll bring Celeborn back. And like as some people have said, even if they did, he would just wind up being nothing more than a cuck anyway. But I don't think they're even going to do that. I think they will bring Celebrian into it, but Daddy will still be dead. And, because this way now you'll have the mother-daughter feminine vibe energy thing. And maybe they can pass the Bechdel test. See my previous video if you want to get the joke there. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Do you think they'll bring Celebrian back without bringing back Celeborn? I think they're probably going to do that. That's what my gut tells me. I could be wrong, but that's what my gut tells me. I think because, like I said, the minute you bring Celeborn back into this, any Halbrand / Sauron / Galadriel googly eye sexual tension thing is gone. The minute you bring Celeborn back into this, which is why I don't think they're gonna. They may at a later season, maybe like season 4, like when they've already beat the will they, won't they Sauron Galadriel thing to death. Maybe season 4, you might see Celeborn make an appearance, but I don't think any time before that. But I do think they'll bring Celebrian back into it, which again brings to the surface its own whole bunch of questions, like why was Gil-galad going to send her back to Valinor without her daughter? And wouldn't she have gone to her daughter to want to take her daughter with her, which then would mean that her daughter would also need to jump into the ocean to swim back to Middle-earth? It opens up a whole can of worms of questions that just show how stupid the entire idea is. But anyway, just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Do you think they'll bring back Celebrian without bringing back Celeborn? And if they do bring back Celeborn, do you think they're going to hold it to like season 4, season 5 for him to make a return? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this one, folks. Yeah. So remember, if you like the video, If you want to share the video, by all means do so. It gets it seen and it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. As always, if you have not subscribed, I would hope you would consider giving the channel your subscription. It doesn't cost anything, and we could always use another soldier in the army of beautiful badasses. So turn that red subscribe button gray. God damn it. And for those of you who are returning viewers and subscribers, as always, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Remember to join us over on Discord, where we have lots of discussions about this, high fantasy, writing, arts, all sorts of subjects, in and around the fantasy genre as a whole. That link will be down in the description below. And also go and check out the merch store if you're interested in purchasing some merch related to the channel. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. As always, be good, be awesome, be safe, but more importantly, stay more dorkish. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.